Need a website for your business, but not looking to break the bank for one? I've got you covered. Hi, it's me, Ashley M. Lyle, founder and CEO of BLAQN and host of the Black Queens on Stage podcast. And yes, I also have a website business, Sites by Lyle. I can create a dynamic website for your business that will showcase your work, wow potential clients, and close more sales. So contact me on my Instagram at Sites by Lyle to schedule your free 30-minute evaluation so we can get you started on your new website. Welcome to the Black Queens on Stage podcast, presented by Black Literature and Art Queens Network, where we bring our queens to the stage. Welcome to the podcast where we honor and acknowledge Black women performers and discuss racial issues within Michigan performing venues. I'm Ashley M. Lyle, and today I am joined by the fantastically talented burlesque performer, Drag Quing, and that's not king or queen, but Quing, singer and poet, Queen Fearless Amaretto. How are you today?
Hello. I am feeling wonderful. I am refreshed, showered, and I'm here for it.
Well, that's good. I'm so glad that you're here today.
Yes, I'm glad to be here.
Yes. I talk to Caffeine a lot, and I get a chance to speak with Eartha when she's not so busy. And, when I found out about you, I was like, oh, this is fantastic. So then as I was formulating my questions and I was looking at your videos, I was like, oh, they doing that thing. Your performances.
Stop.
I'm so serious. Your performances are just magnificent. Absolutely magnificent.
Thank you so much.
Well, let's get into this interview.
Yes.
So, explain to me what inspired your name.
Okay, so Fearless actually is a direct translation to, which ironically it's now my dead name, but my name I was born with, my name my parents gave me. And it's funny because I don't really want to say the name, but just know that I growing up with an African name, like they went into an African book and got the name. And growing up, people would always be like, "Oh, that name's exotic," or I'd get the complete opposite, and and it was just like I was one of those kind of I got tired of it type of thing. But then when I looked up what it meant, I was like, ooh, you know what? This is the energy that I need. This is the energy that I want to put out into the world. And I was like, you know what? This is me, and I am fearless.
Okay. So the definition of your dead name is fearless.
Yes.
Nice. That's creative. I like that a lot. So then where did the amaretto part come from?
So amaretto, it was a little bit more recent, but not maybe a year or two ago that I came up with the amaretto because I posed the question, should I stay just like a one name, like a Beyonce, just fearless, because, I've been using that name for quite a long time just for poetry and stuff. But then when I started doing burlesque and getting into that scene, I see that a lot of performers had like this extravagant name, or, it really was something, like that. And I was like, should I have a last name? So at the time, I go to the bars and stuff. That's where I performed a lot and I would drink. But I was always one of those people, I want to enjoy my drink. I don't want to just drink to get drunk type of thing. I want to, have an experience. And somebody, I can't remember what bar it was, but somebody made me this drink. And it was like amaretto and orange juice and cranberry juice. And it was just, it was something amazing. And I was just like, amaretto. It's like sweet and dark, but like sexy, kind of like mysterious, alluring. And I was like, ooh, that's cute. So then it has that duality, fearless, that very bold, and the amaretto, that soft, mysterious.
I like that. Ooh, I like that. Ooh, I just got chills thinking about that. I'm like, ooh, that's so interesting. And then one other thing, explain Quing, because I wanted to make sure to put that in for your introduction.
Yes, and I'm so glad you did. So recently, it's funny because recently I had kind of like discovered, reimagining what queen means to me. Because at first, the first time I've heard, like, it's not a term that I came up with, sadly. The first time I heard the term was Todrick Hall did a whole thing, and he was like, he was the queen because he was the king and the queen. And I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. I like that, you know? And it wasn't until after I personally came out as bigender that I was like, you know what? That would really be cute because it's like the king and the queen. It's that masculine and feminine, you know? And seeing as I really have that duality of me, I was like, I really identify with that, being that queen, holding myself as higher than how society would see me. Because I feel like a lot of times growing up, you know, you go through, at least as a queer person, you go through that toxic masculinity of, you know, if you're born a man or you have to be this or that. And I was always like, well, I can't be just in this box. That's not who I am at my heart. And that a lot of people see queerness as being, you know, less than. And I hated that. And I felt like Quing brings that royalty to it. It's like, no, I'm not less than. Actually, I am being my true self. So I'm that I am that I am, you know what I mean?
Right,
But
exactly. And I just thought it was so interesting. I can't remember when I first saw it, but I saw it on your profile on Instagram.
mhm.
No, now I remember. Caffeine put it on their Facebook page. I think it was a show that you guys were getting ready to do during COVID or something like that. And
Probably, yeah. I
yeah,
have a few
and
coming up.
they put the advertisement for it and they announced you in it. Oh, now I remember what it was. It was the creepy American show.
Yes, the American horror or something like that. The American, it wasn't American Horror Story, but
I
it
mean, it might
was,
as well be.
you know, it was there. It was the 4th of July, but it wasn't like a celebration. It was, you know, we decided because of everything going on, we wanted to make it horror because it's
It's a miracle.
horror. Ugh, baby. Mm-mm.
That's where I saw it, and they put Quing Fearless Amaretto on them. And I asked them, what is Quing? You know, 'cause
Yeah. Yeah, and I'd like to use it like as, I guess, the
salutation.
yeah, like whatever you call it, like the how Mr. or Miss, it's like Quing. I use QG, so it's like Quing.
Oh,
So I thought it'd be
gotcha.
cute, you know. It's like a surf. What is that? A prefix? Is that what they? I forget what it's
I
called,
think it's
but
just a salutation.
ah,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
yes.
Because I actually had to contact a friend of mine who's non-binary
Mm,
because I'm learning the new versions of the salutations like
hmm.
MX,
Yeah.
and I asked them just for verification, like, hey, is MX pronounced mix or Ms with a Z pronunciation? And they said, no, it's mixed. It's mixed.
Mm,
So I was like, okay, all right, then so at least I know, you know.
yeah.
So my next question for you is describe your style of burlesque and drag.
Hmm. Well, my burlesque is very unique. I'm very theatrical. I feel like every performance of mine has to be like I get immersed into the performance. So
Mhm.
it's like I have very wide range of types of burlesque. Like I haven't dabbled quite into the traditional burlesque quite yet. And that's more so just because of funding and outfits and stuff, but I'm getting there. But I do very much like a theatrical type of burlesque you would see at, I don't know, I'm a very Broadway-ish type of, I want to be, I want to transport you with these performances. You know, I want you to get very engulfed in the character or whatever that it is portraying.
Hey, I can respect that. Anything Broadway, I'm all here for it.
Yes.
So, explain the process for me and for our listeners, the process of preparing for a show. Like, what inspires your song choice, your costume choice? How long do you
Mm.
practice your routines?
Okay, so for me, it almost always goes off of the music. I'm a very musically inclined person, I am the type to, like, when I sit down and listen to my music, I something has to call out to me. Like every song that I perform, it's one of those that when I was listening to it in my room, like I just all of a sudden started dancing, or like I caught myself, getting like I could see the show, I could see the performance in my head,
Mhm.
like it's playing out like a movie. And that's
Hey, I like that.
and yes, like it has to, I can't just do a song just because it's catchy. It has to mean something for me to be able to really connect with it. Believe it or not, I don't think I've ever, ever, ever done a show that was like 100% choreographed.
Mm,
I'm very much a blocker. Like I'll have like I know at certain points of a song, I know I want to do this, or I know this has to be, the climax, or I know this I want to do a jump kick, or it's like I'll block it out, but then the rest of it, I just have to be in it. I have to feel it. And I think that's also why I choose the songs that I do, because I already felt it. So I know once I start performing it, I know it's going to come to life on the stage.
okay. Yeah, I can totally relate to that because whenever I watch like certain music videos and then it just doesn't gel right with the song, I'm already seeing.
Mhm.
I'm not a choreographer in any way. I have two left feet. I trip over my own toenails if it so
I
happens,
feel it. I feel it.
But like if I watch a music video where whatever is going on in the music video just doesn't gel with the song, I'm thinking of like, okay, well they could have done this or they could have done that or this is how it would have
Mhm.
happened. But like I said, I'm not a choreographer. I'm not going to even front.
Right, right, right. And it's funny because I've been asked a couple times after, like, I remember I did this Stephen King themed show maybe a year ago. And me personally, like, I know of Stephen King, but I didn't off the top of my head know what movies or books or whatever was his. So I had to look them up. And I was like, okay, well, they picked all the main ones that everyone knows. So I'm like searching and searching, searching, and this song popped into my head. And I was like, the song was What Went Wrong by J.P. Cooper. And I just was like, I could do the Green Mile. And I did this
Ooh.
whole thing, and I was John Coffey. It started out like at the end of the movie, I'm in the electric chair and it's about to execute. And I was like, now, and it cut. And I was like, now let me tell you what went wrong. And after that performance, I had a couple people come up to me, was like, did you go to school for, modern dance or whatever? I was like, no, I just felt the music. Cause like when you feel it, you know it's real.
Right.
Just
Oh,
get
yeah.
immersed and lost in it.
Mhm. Yeah, I can totally feel that. A friend of mine, I just interviewed her and
Nice.
she's multi-talented. Like she's an actress, she's a dancer, she's a singer, she's a director, martial artist, anything and everything in between. And she came to my performance of Ain't Misbehavin'. And the character that I had to play had to do this tap dancing routine and I didn't know tap dance and neither did the choreographer. So
Oh. Oh.
so my friend, she told me like, well, you could do this kind of move, you could do that kind of move, and I told her, I said, you don't have to give me like a whole big like logistic kind of thing because I'm not gonna get it.
Mhm.
She came to see me in the show, and I bullshitted my way through it, and so she was like, you did good for somebody who doesn't know how to tap dance.
Okay. Fake it till you make it.
As long as I had a big ass smile across my face and looked like I knew what I was doing, then it sold.
Absolutely.
It sold. So,
Yes.
so how do you keep your audiences hype and wanting more during your performances?
Mm. So I have this thing. And it's funny. I noticed it by other people telling me, but now I made it a thing. So I have this thing when I'm performing burlesque or even especially drag, where I like to find faces in the crowd while I'm performing. A lot of people just get lost in the lights and stuff, but I like to try to find certain points to zoom in on. So I look for faces, and once I find, like, I scan and I find someone that's kind of like they're intrigued but like afraid or whatever. Oh, I have fun. But and I'll get real into, I call it, well, I guess I don't have a word for it, but just getting really into the face, because for me, facial expressions, I feel like really sell any performance. Because if you don't look it in your face, no one's gonna believe.
Right.
And I used to practice in the mirror a lot on my facial expressions to make sure I look like make sure the emotions are coming across the way I need them to, And I would find people, in the audience that are kind of afraid, and I'll get real close, and give it to, make them like kind of shake a little bit. And I feel like people feel that energy, but then at the same time, it depends. Like, I do a lot of go-go stuff now too. And
Okay.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I love it, but I feel like go-go dancing, at least for me, my kind of go-go dancing is so much more physically demanding than some of my burlesque or my drag, because it's like we'll be going for, 4 or 5 songs, and I'm one of those people that if I'm doing a go-go dance, in my head, when I think of go-go, I'm thinking I want to entertain, kind of playful, but, be sexy with it and that sort of thing. So I'm very high energy, very, pop, kick, shimmy, shake, and I'll do it for like 15 minutes straight. And, but gotta do what you gotta do, and I love it. And that's the most, I'm just like, I have to keep this energy because I do not want to plateau, and I feel like that's still one of those things that I've been battling with myself, as far as gauging my energy and performances. A lot of time I'll come out strong, but then I'm like, okay, now I have to keep this energy. But I'm learning to pace myself a little bit more. But I feel like drag, burlesque, go-go, you're always evolving. You never want to become stagnant, because then that's as best as you're ever going to be.
So which would you say that you like more out of the 3, burlesque, drag, or go-go?
I would have to say burlesque.
Okay.
I feel like burlesque is one of those beautiful things that you don't always have to necessarily know all the words of the song. You can really focus on getting deep into it, like creating a scene, creating a moment. And I feel like I love that allure, that tease, that kind of leave them wanting more and you never said a word.
Right.
I love that energy, and being able to challenge myself to be able to portray so many things without speaking, and just with body motions and facial expressions. And I feel like that's it. It takes a real art. It's an art form, and I love it so much. Like, just being able to share that art with people.
That's beautiful. I've said this before on previous episodes, and I'll say it again. I love hearing my guests talking about their art. It always sounds so poetic, and that's when the passion is there.
Yes.
So tell me, what does your audience normally look like when you're performing? Is there an energy difference or a difference in reactions between particular audiences, like between men, women, Black people, white people?
So most of my shows, it's usually more heavier, like white audience, white women, to be honest. It's mostly white women, and then like gay white men, gay white cis men. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they're whitewashed, our audience, but I feel like it is very one-sided. A lot of times, like, I'll usually go to at least for burlesque, I should say, most of my burlesque shows that I went to, the audience was predominantly white. It kind of makes me sad, to be honest, because I feel like burlesque is such a beautiful thing. Oh, it's so beautiful to see. It's so beautiful to be in. And I feel like I talked about burlesque to some of my Black friends and my people of color, and I feel like a lot of them don't even know about it, or they're like, oh, that's still a thing. It's like it's a thing not talked about. It's kind of forgotten in like Black cultures and stuff. And I don't know, or I feel like, well, not even just forgotten. I feel like we're not given that chance a lot.
I think I've faced something like that similarly in the theater world, because I'm strictly a theater actor, but if I can find like a TV or film gig that actually pays, then I'll do it.
Okay.
But I remember coming across like several coworkers in my regular 9 to 5 job. When they find out that I do theater, they will immediately say, "Oh, that's some white stuff," and I'm just like, "What are you talking about? You know, your best actors that are on TV right now are theater performers."
Okay. I
You
don't,
wouldn't have no Denzel Washington if there was no theater. If he hadn't gone to
yes.
theater. You wouldn't have Viola Davis if she never went to theater. You wouldn't have James Earl goddamn Jones if he hadn't gone to theater.
Okay. And
You
I feel
know?
like a lot of and that's crazy because even growing up I went in school I did theater. I was only able to be in two musicals and I had to drop out of the second one halfway through cuz my parents wouldn't let me do it.
Mm.
Long story, but I was in one of those toxic situations with my family and they were like, "Oh, well, exactly what you said. Like, oh, theater is this or the white people shit or it's gay shit." And I'm just like, really though? Like, you guys want to go out and see these movies with black actors and always talk about, there's black actors aren't getting their chance, black actors aren't doing this and that, but then you don't want to support people that want to be black actors. I don't know. But
And
then it's a double, yeah.
yeah, and it's I don't honestly think that it's just a black thing. I think
No,
just
it's not.
because just because you and I are black, we see it more within our community. But I think
Hmm.
with people in general, as far as like acting is concerned, they can appreciate what's already out there and what's already put in front, but the actual work to get up to that point is not appreciated as much.
Yeah.
Because that's something, honestly, that I've battled with my mother. Now, my mother is very supportive. However, she was also very supportive of the fact that I have a plan B, something that was completely established first, and then get into acting and then really pursue it more and more and more. And I'm grateful that she wanted me to do that because she all she wants is the best for me.
Hmm.
But there have been situations where, she doesn't fully understand it 100%. And that's what we come across as artists. People
Yeah.
don't 100% fully understand us.
Yeah.
So, next question. As a black bigender person in a cis male and female dominated industries, what
Mm.
kind of obstacles and challenges have you faced because you're black and trans, and how do you overcome them?
Oof. Um. Ugh. I feel like with me being who I am as a trans person, as a black person, I feel like I'm often my experience is often very polarized. I feel like I'm either overlooked because I'm trans, because I'm black. I feel like I have to always put in double that effort. I have to, perform twice as hard, just to be seen. Or I'll get the people only want me because I'm black, or people only want me because I'm trans. And I feel like it's like that double-edged sword. It's like I want people to want me to, perform because that I'm good at performing, not because I've been in, like, I did a show, well, maybe a year ago. I was in a show. The reason that I got into the show was because someone, I guess, called the show out for having a whitewash show. They didn't have, like, apparently the show's been booked for so long or whatever, and there was no people of color on cast. And
Hmm.
there was like a whole thing on Facebook, and I didn't know about any of this until someone tagged me in it and was like, here are a bunch of POC performers, it's not that hard to find them. And I guess that's how I got on the show. But don't get me wrong, I got there and it was a really good experience. Everybody was really kind and polite and whatnot. And I did feel really welcome. But, I come across that a lot. I feel like I end up getting either overlooked for shows or I'll be like the token. And I
Mm-hmm.
hate that with a passion because you can feel it. Like, you'll go there and be in the dressing rooms and you just kind of feel like the oddball, like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not I've done it a couple times and I'll never do it again, but it's not a comfortable experience, and I just feel like it doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah. I totally understand that. That Same shit happens in theater. I had a 4-part series talking to other Black actors regarding topics like tokenism and white saviorism and other racist crap that goes on within theater. And I personally have a huge problem with tokenism because because it's like, yes, I'm Black, but that shouldn't be the reason why I'm here.
Right.
Like, see me for my talent, see me for my artistry, but don't see me just because I'm Black. And then not only that, just because I'm light-skinned Black, don't think that I'm easier to deal with. I'm probably one of the hardest motherfuckers that you can deal with. But anyway.
Okay. Let them know.
Right. But it's like, it's so baffling that performing venues feel like that they can just check off a box that says diversity. Oh, we got our diversity point for the year by having their one person of color in their show. And they've had like 4 or 5 throughout the entire year.
Right.
It's the same thing in theater. Theater does the same thing. They'll have their one show where it may actually be a tokenism show where it highlights or puts at the very front of the show a Black person or a Latina person. And then that's it. And then they go do other shows like Mamma Mia or some crap like that. And then then that entire show is completely white.
It's a mess.
And then on top of that, what kills me is when they don't want to own up to own up to not paying attention to what they're doing, or own up to them purposely doing this kind of stuff. It's gets on my nerves.
Yeah, it's, and I hate it. I really do. Because I feel like, as, I guess, a Black person, I feel like sometimes we're looked at as, what do you call it? Like, when it comes to performing, I feel like I don't want to be, for lack of a better term, the dancing clown, I don't want to be that. Like, I don't want to, I feel like a lot of times people see Black people and in the performance scene and they be like, oh, it's entertaining, ha ha ha. I'm so much more than just this. Or they'd be like, oh yeah, well, I've heard this in like dressing rooms before. It literally made me sick to my stomach when people are like, oh well, they're that chocolate skin, and I mean it, and that just really, like, it gets me upset. I'm so much more than my skin. See me for how talented I am. See me for how I can bring you to tears. Like, see that. Want me for that.
Don't get me started on white theater establishments profiting off of Black tragedy. Don't get me started on that. Ugh, man. I
hate that.
I have a love-hate relationship for the show Ragtime. Man. If you have not seen it, I do suggest, I don't recommend, but I do suggest...
Heard.
Suggest that if you can find a production of it on YouTube, watch it. And the other one that I suggest, definitely not recommend this one, but I suggest you look up the show Barnum, and it's about P.T. Barnum, and then get back to me about that. Let me know what you think about it.
I'm gonna check them out. I surely will.
Anyway, so explain a moment to me when you had to deal with a heckler in the audience.
So luckily I haven't had many. I think beyond, more than anything, I've had a show once. I can't remember what I was performing, but luckily I've always had this leeway, because a lot of times I perform things that are I just remember it was very like, do you know who I am? Like, in your face type of, one of those type of things. I want to say it was a drag performance. And I'm on the stage, I come out and there's like this group of, little Twinkie cis white guys on the side of the stage, and they're like talking to each other, taking photos, like right on the side of the stage. And I'm just like, really? So I had one of those moments, thankfully, because of the way my music was. And I get off the stage and stood right in front of them and like was doing my, do you see who I am? Do you know? Got in their face, and they got real quiet, put the phone down. I was like, because my respect is one of my biggest things. Like, it's one of my, I hold it above almost anything else. Like
Mm-hmm.
you don't even have to like me. You really don't. I mean, if you do, kudos, but you don't have to like me. But you have to show me some type of respect. If I'm coming out here, you pay money to get into this bar. You obviously wanted to see the show.
Mm-hmm.
Be respectful, if nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's been shows where I've told people, I was like, I will never go back. I will not work with this person until I get a apology in public, because I don't do that. You disrespect me in public, I want that apology in public. You know, I don't do that behind closed doors. Oh, I'm so sorry, let's sweep it under the rug. No, I'm not for that at all. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
know, you have to, if you're coming to, I'm sharing my art with you, I'm sharing my heart, my soul with you, you will respect me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, respect my art. I feel like I went on a whole
Right.
tangent, but
Hey, that's fine. That's fine. Speak your piece. Speak your piece. Seriously.
yeah.
So explain a moment when you had the opportunity to work with a diverse group of people.
Ooh. Okay, so I did this show at, it's actually at this club, Candy Bar. Well, the club is called Live, but on Thursdays it's called Candy Bar. It's in Ann Arbor. And they do a drag show every Thursday or whatever. And this is like when I was first kind of getting into the performance scene out here. I think it was a lip sync battle type of thing or whatever. It was like for charity, and you know, the winner gets $100 and $100 goes to the charity of your choice type of thing. And it was really cool, real fun. But I just remember
Mhm.
going, and literally every single performance was so unique and so different. And the, like, there was cisgendered people, transgendered people, you know, all types of the spectrum. There was black, there was white, there was, you know, it was very, everything was so well, like everybody put work and thought into it. And I think that's why I've loved being out here in Ann Arbor, or well, Ypsi Ann Arbor area, performing wise, because it's so, well, at least let me take that back. It's the places I've been, because I've heard things, but the places I've been
Mhm.
have been really
Mhm.
diverse and really inclusive. And that's what I really love about this area, you know,
Mhm.
because I feel like people really, in my experience since I've been out here, people aren't really super worried about who you are when you're in an art platform out here. Like, they just want to see your art. They want to see how creative, how cool, they want to be blown away, you know, and I love that, because then it's like, okay, well, let me show you what I can be, you know.
Mhm.
It's like, yes, I am black, and that's a part of me. That is, you know, I'm black, and you like, not, you
Mhm.
know, it shouldn't be something that's taken away. It shouldn't be something that you only see. It should be a part of, you know, I am
Right.
black, and I am, you know, this and this and this, you know. And I feel like out
Mhm.
here, I've been having a really wonderful experience so far with that.
Well, that's good.
And I'm
Yeah, that's
thankful.
really good.
Yes.
What kind of moral support do you get for your artistic career?
To be honest, it's mostly my performance family, like my people that we call ourselves like a little family, because we're always at kind of most of the same shows, like me, Caffeine, and
Mhm.
all of our little group. And
Mhm.
I always love doing shows and seeing them there, because I know even if I'm going through something at that time or having issues or whatever, and I'll tell them, it's like, you know, I'm going through this or whatever. So they'll be right there supporting me all the way, be backstage, whatever you need. I'm so thankful. I really am.
Mhm.
The circle of people I have around me. And it took so long to get here, because I just feel like I've been kind of on my own for so long. Not on my own, but like doing everything myself, having to kind of fend for myself. Like when I first started out in drag and everything, I was wearing my everyday clothes that I tied this and cut this and, you know, glue a couple dollar store stones on. And, you know, I was doing what I could, because I was like, I don't have money, I don't have a ride, I had to pay someone to take me to these places. But, you know, I just knew I wanted to perform, and I was like, if I could just get there, if you could just see how good I could be, if you could just see. It took so long to get to a place where people could actually see, because I've been doing this, you're trying to do this for a while, and it's like people wouldn't put me on their big show nights, or, you know, it was always packed, or they were always had a full night, but every night they had new performers, you know, stuff like that. And they would never tell me a reason for it. And I'm just like, okay, I'm seeing what's happening. You keep getting new performers, but they're always skinny white guys. And, I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess I finally came to a point, and I've been trying to be good and not name drop people because I'm not. but
Yeah, please don't.
but I'm
I want to keep my business.
okay. But I just, certain places I was trying so hard to be fit in or be a part or just get on the stage, and show what I had. And when I kept getting turned down, I was finally like, why am I pushing for this? Why am I, driving myself crazy to get this spot? I'm just gonna
Mm-hmm.
go and get a spot somewhere else. Like, why am I trying to break my back for this group of people? And I finally
Right.
went and ventured out and started putting stuff on Facebook, and so people can see me perform. And somebody saw me, and that's how I got in touch with the Candy Bar and Pop Art and all of those different little groups and stuff that they actually saw something in me and was like, yeah, absolutely, we'll yeah, come do this show and we'll pay you.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something that I, for so long, I had to fight for. I feel like a lot of places, the only time I could dance or do something at was if it was free or if I was doing a hot spot for just tips. And don't get me wrong, I love being able to perform because for me it was never really about the money. But
Mm-hmm.
for you to tell me that this is all I'm worth,
Right.
and it took a long time for me to see that I could be worth so much more. I am worth so much more, and stop settling. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why, don't get me wrong, I'm still not big balling or nothing like that. But and when I need money, it come, and I'm
Right.
thankful for it. People looking out for me and want me to be on this show and that show and seeing my potential, and I'm so thankful that I'm finally at a place where I'm seen, and now I'm just, let me show the world who I am.
Yeah.
Just it's like it's finally that time.
Yeah. How do you keep your mental health in check between performances?
Ooh, see, that's tough. It took a long time for me to get to a healthy place mentally. I guess, with me, I've short version. I've been going through, living issues with housing and family and identity, and it's just been a long time coming, especially like in Black cultures and stuff like that. Mental health is kind of overlooked. It's like it's the myth, it's that side of thing, at least for older generations, raising children and whatnot. So it took me a while to get from up under that, but now that where I'm at, I feel like now it's so important to take breaks. Like,
Mm-hmm.
literally, I take, sometimes I'll take time and I'm like, I can't do this show. I need some time. I'll do a self day, or some days I'll just sleep. Some days you just need that day. You need to recuperate, or I'll do something just for me. I'll take like a nice herbal bath, or I need to get myself back in zen, get myself back at oneness, because when you're performing or acting or singing or whatever your art is, I feel like you are putting your energy out into the world. You're putting this part of you that's it's literal energy inside you. And it's like, if you're always putting it out, putting it out, at some point you need to recharge. And I feel like, especially for me, because I have mental health issues, I'm, bipolar, it took me a while to figure what I needed to get my recharge, because I feel like my body every so often will let me know, hey, you've been stretching yourself a little thin, you need to get a little recharge going on. And I'll take me a day or two and just be with myself. And I feel like a lot of people have their own reservations or whatever about being by yourself and alone or whatnot, but sometimes you need it. Sometimes you just need to get out of the media, get out of the everything, the push and pull, the whatever people are saying. And sometimes you just need to unplug and just have a whole day where you only do what you feel like you need.
Mm-hmm.
For so long, I felt like it was a problem, I guess. And it took me, actually going and getting therapy and stuff. And one of my therapists finally, sat me down and told me one day, it was like, it's not selfish to care about yourself. Some days
Ooh,
you have to,
say that again.
it's not selfish to care about yourself. You know, you have to care about you, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to do all these things. You know, if you break down and shut down and depressed, and you won't be able to create this magic, create this great thing that you love doing. You have to care about
Mhm.
yourself first and foremost. And it took me I'm 26 now. It took me till about 26 to learn this lesson, but
You make it sound like you're so old. I'm
I
33, so
mean,
stop. Get over yourself, okay?
yeah, yeah. I just, I don't know. Some days I feel like I've lived lifetimes going through
Right,
so much, but
right. I get it.
you have to take care of
And like
yourself.
you,
And I'm,
yeah, and just listening to you talk about, people just adding you to their show because you're black or because you're trans, and that's just the only reason why. I already know what that feels like as far as my blackness is concerned, but
mm-hmm.
then as far as gender, man, I can't even imagine that.
Oh,
I personally can't imagine that.
I really hate it. It literally, like, it makes my blood boil sometimes. I don't. Cause sometimes and it's funny. I've actually, there was a show that I got booked for, and because of COVID, it got shut down or whatever. And when the person hit me up or whatever, or emailed me, they were like, "Oh, I was so glad one of my so and so told me about you, or showed me or I found your page from their page. We didn't have any black male presence." And I'm just like,
Oh my god.
oh, but I'm not. I'm not. I mean, I get you. See, you're,
Little do they
you
know.
know, and I just wanted to shake the email like virtually. I hate it so much, but
And I am a cis female.
mhm,
So I don't know, and I'm not going to even try to pretend I know what you're going through.
yeah,
But I know that for me as a cis female, that there are things that I need to make myself aware of and be more cognizant of trans people, and just trans people as being that. And I saw the diagram on your Instagram too,
mm,
with the trans umbrella, and then you have binary, non-binary.
yes,
And I thought that was just such a great
yes.
analogy for it,
Yes,
you
I
know?
loved it, and it's funny because I just seen it in passing. One of my friends had posted, and I was like, "This is everything that I needed," because it showed. Because I feel like
Mhm.
a lot of people, and I feel like this is where a lot of issues happen. I feel like a lot
Mhm.
of people often confuse who you are with who you like, with who you are born, or the parts you were born with. Like, these are three
Mhm.
different things, and people want to always put them all together. You
Mhm.
know,
And I'm still learning. I'm definitely still learning. I'm still figuring out through research and through contacting people, and just like how I don't expect for people to come to me about all black questions,
right?
I can't expect myself to go to someone like you or Caffeine or my other trans friends, and I can't just constantly go to them
Hmm.
with my questions about, transgender, the whole spectrum of being transgender, binary, non binary. I can't expect myself to do that to you guys because, first of all, y'all already got to carry that weight.
Okay.
Y'all already have to carry that weight of people making perceptions and assumptions just immediately based off of what you look like.
Right. And it's almost, I feel like I feel like I have to explain who I am to people. Almost like I need to disclaim who I am first, and it
Mhm.
bothers me that in reality, sometimes, especially in certain areas that I haven't been in before, I don't know how people's headspace is or whatever. Like, it is scary. I don't know that maybe I'm looking really, and people think that people see a lot of trans people or trans women, or and they think that they're pretending, or they think that they're hiding or trying to keep a secret. And I feel like that's one of the key points that people, that's like one of the major misconceptions, that someone's trying to
Mhm.
trick some, or someone's trying to, or that we're pretending to be women. And that's like my biggest pet peeve. Like, I want to scream every time I hear it. And
Right.
I've done like live videos and stuff, just talking to people, and there's been, I hate to say it, but I usually get it mostly from women, believe it or not. Like, cis women will like come on my lives and stuff and be like, "Oh, you're just pretending to be a woman. Take off that, and show us your atoms." And I'm just like, Why? What in the world? I'm just here trying to live. I am not trying to pretend to be anything. I don't.
And that's stressful.
It's so like I'm literally tearing up right now. I hate it so much. I really do.
I'm sorry I had to bring that
I
up to you
mean,
like that.
it's okay.
No, it's
It's
not
not.
okay because well then let's shift gears then.
Okay.
Okay. And I want you to tell me what is your greatest accomplishments so far in your career.
My greatest accomplishment. Can I have 3? They're kind of short, but
Absolutely.
I mean, so
Listen, this is your moment right now to brag about yourself.
okay.
Tell me about how fantastic you are,
Yes.
okay?
Okay. So, my greatest accomplishments, and they're very, very different. So, my first one, I would have to say it's actually more poetry related. When I was in high school, is when I didn't start poetry in high school. I've been writing and writing poetry since like elementary, but then I started doing spoken word and performing and poetry slams and stuff like that. In high school, I remember I stayed up all night writing this poem. It was supposed to be for some convention or something that my school was gonna do a after school program and take the bus and go, and we were gonna be in this thing, and stayed up all night, and it was really deep about my life and the things I went through. And we went to we got to the place. We all hopped in the van, and the person in the front turned around and was like, so here's the thing. You guys can't compete. And I was like, but why? And they were like, well, we didn't know you had to be part of the guild or whatever. And we were all bummed out. But then that night, don't get me wrong, we got to go to like we went to like the DIA, and I did my poem for like people at the DIA looking at the artwork and stuff, and it was beautiful. But what happened was I think it was like a week or 2 later, we ended up having our first poetry slam at our school, and it was people from colleges came out and stuff, and I did my poem that I spent all that work on, and I got first place.
Oh, that's
And I was like, I did it. I put in all this work, and I was like, oh, I did it. But I was so proud of myself, because that was one of those things, like, when I told my parents that I wanted to write poetry, that's what I like to do, and that was my thing. They was like, oh, okay, yeah, cute, But it was like, when are you gonna show off poetry? That sort of thing. So it was like, they couldn't profit off of it, so it wasn't like important to them. But showing that I could excel at something that was all me, it was like a golden moment for me. From that, I went into doing drag I started out doing stripping, and but I feel like everybody kind of, not everybody, but a lot of people jump into that. But for me, it was like my freedom. It was like I was doing something that, for me, nudity or, showing my body or whatever, it wasn't a sexual thing to me. Like, it didn't have to be. I was like a nudist in the head already. Like, it's about you just being free and being proud of your body and loving yourself, type of thing. So when I first started dancing, I was real heavy. Like, I was not real heavy, but I was thicker than most strippers you would see, and especially in the gay scene and stuff. It was either you were a twink and skinny, or you were muscular, and that was it. Like, they didn't want in between. So for me, when I first started dancing and I got a spot at a bar, I mean, it wasn't even really like a strip club. It was like a bar that had like a strip night type of thing. But it was like a moment for me when I got out there and I danced, and people were giving me money and stuff, and and I got off the stage, and I was in the back room just looking at all this money, and I'm like, I did this.
This a lot of money.
Okay. And I was like, I really did. I said I wanted to do it, and I did it. And for so long, I've always been told, well, that's not going to work. And you can't do that because of this. You can't do this because you're fat. You can't do this because you're gay. You can't do this because of... And I went out and I did it. And it just made me feel so good. And then the third and last one is just me when I did what was it? A competition. It was like my first drag competition that I was in. It wasn't a pageant. I haven't been in a pageant yet, but that's coming soon. But I did a
Yeah, you definitely need to do that because I see your makeup looks and I'm like,
thank you.
damn.
I've been working. Cause baby, it's been a work in progress.
Not to cut your story
Yeah.
off, but there was one picture in particular I saw on Instagram where you had this beautiful head wrap, your lips was on point, your eyes were on point, and I was like,
Uh,
God damn it, why can't I get my makeup that good?
and it took so much practice. You wouldn't believe. I would just sit in my room, or I would go in the bathroom, and I would just have moments, and I'll just paint. And I'll turn on some music, and I'll just do my makeup, and I'll be like, I don't like it. Let me do a little, and I'll keep working at it, blend this some more, add this, and until I get it just right. And I'm like, okay, this is cute. I'm happy with this.
So we've reached the end of our conversation today, and I have one more question for you, and this is called. It's normally called the Queen's Request, but because you're here today, I'm calling it to be the Queen's Request.
Yes. Okay.
So I would like for you to suggest to me one or two Michigan Black women performers. And when I say women, I spell women with an
Hmm.
X to include everyone that's not a cis man.
Got it.
So, one to two Michigan Black women performers we should keep an eye out for.
So before anything, I
Mhm.
cannot call out any name before I call out this particular performer because they have pushed me and inspired me oh so much throughout my career, my life, everything. And that is Maria Zatiz. She is a drag performer, soon to be a burlesque performer, if rumor has it, but incredible, incredible performer, incredible, makeup artist. You, if you don't know about her, get to know her because she's incredible. Yes, and then one other would probably be one of my other really, really, really dear friends, and they've been helping me out a lot along the way, and they believed in me really deeply and want to see my visions come to fruition. And that's another drag performer that I really love, Miss Mocha Pronto. She's like the club kid of Detroit or whatever. She's very you won't see anything like Miss Mocha. And she'll make you
Mhm.
laugh, make you cry, make you she's wonderful. But yes,
Mhm.
beautiful performers, incredible spirit. Keep a lookout.
Okay. All right. So, is there anything that you want to promote before we end our conversation today? Any social media, a website, or anything?
I would say, I don't know if this is it's not really art, but it's something, it is a business that I have.
Hmm.
So, on top of performing, I am a very spiritual person. I am a conjurer, which I practice African, craft or whatnot. So, I do gree-grees and blessings and readings and all that good stuff. And you can see me on Facebook. I have a page that is titled Quing Intuition. That's Quing Intuition. Check me out.
All right. I had so much fun with you today. I really did. I enjoyed this conversation so
Yes, I
much.
enjoyed this too. I'm really happy I did this. This was
I'm
everything.
glad too. Yes. All right. Well, thank you again for coming on here and just giving me an hour and 15 minutes of your time.
Absolutely. Anytime. Anytime.
Thanks
Yes.
for tuning in to today's episode. You can find Black Queens on Stage podcast and Black Literature and Art Queens Network at blackqueensonstage.com and blaqn.org. Follow me on Instagram at BLAQN Show Michigan, on Facebook at BLAQ Show Michigan, and on Twitter at BLAQNMI. You can find all this info in the show notes. Please rate the show and leave a review on Apple Podcast or on Podbean to let me know what you think of the show. Thanks again. Until next time.